Welcome, everyone, to Keeping It Real on Purpose. I am your host, Edna White, and I'm so glad that you're here with us today. We have a special guest by the name of Erin Kabba, who's going to be with me today to talk living with chronic illness, and she's going to share some insight into that. How are you? And welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. So tell us how you show up in the world as you are right now.
Wow. Okay. That's a good question. How do I show up in the world? I try to show up as authentically as possible. As
Yeah.
you know, sometimes we're conditioned to show up in certain ways in certain situations as somebody who maybe we're not really.
Yeah.
And so now a conscious effort to show up
Yeah.
authentically in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like what you said, that we have to do it consciously. It's almost strategically. Every time you go out, you have to try to be as authentic as possible,
Mhm.
or your original self, you know.
Right.
And I know uncovering yourself takes work. But as we talk about today's subject, I want you to answer that with living with chronic illness. Talk about that. Like, what is your chronic illness? And then we could go into like how to show up authentically in that.
Okay, yes. So my chronic illness, I'm 39 right now. So around the
Okay.
age of between 32, 33, I was diagnosed with early onset osteoporosis in like my hips. So that totally like kind of like hit me because the doctors were like, um, you're not supposed to have this type of like arthritis early, like this early. So like what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So it's in my family, it runs in my family, and
Mm-hmm.
apparently I got it too. So I had to start thinking about, my weight and everything else. And then now I was recently diagnosed with some like degeneration in my back and my neck. And I have like a pinched nerve in my back. So I'm currently dealing with that on top of the arthritis. So
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, I've been dealing with this pain, this chronic illness for almost 8 years.
Wow. Wow. And how do you show up as authentically as you possibly can with whatever they're telling you, what the doctors are saying, you
Mhm.
know, with what you have to go through? Because I'm imagining you have to go to some therapy of some type, physical therapy and medication therapy as well.
Yeah, definitely. I used to like I used to hate going to the doctor, so I would mask the pain. I would do everything I could to like,
Yeah.
every pain pill and other things to try to ease the pain. But now, like I said, I'm making the conscious effort to show up authentically. So if
Yeah.
something hurts, I'm going to say that it hurts and not try to
Yes.
push through like I usually do.
Yes.
So I go to the doctor now, pretty regularly, and I share with them what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling, if something they give me works, if something they give me does not work. Um, so I'm pretty honest with them. I also do a good job of now kind of doing my own research because
Oh, that's good.
sometimes
That's
the
really good.
doctors they tell you one thing and I trust the doctors, but sometimes I like to see what other people are saying
Yeah.
and listen to other experiences because, my father, for example, was misdiagnosed years ago.
Mm.
And so there are times where there's misdiagnosis. And so now I'm really doing more research because my dad, he had back issues and he ended up having to get back surgery due to a
Mm.
diagnosis. So, and it
Yeah.
just kind of like went downhill from there a little bit with his mobility and stuff. So I'm like, okay, while I'm going to follow what the doctor says, I am going to do my own research.
If that makes advocating for yourself is so very important. I
Mhm.
had a woman on, she what's her name? What's her book? Oh, Susan Bellinger, and she did this book called Sidelined, and it's
Mhm.
about women's health and how to advocate for yourself. And I can't express to you enough, advocating for yourself is number one. Knowing everything around it. Um, just like your mother, I mean your father, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 80.
Mm.
And we did our research, we asked second opinions, we sought out other people. She still had, still had to go through the surgery and the 6 weeks and all of that. But at least we had more information on how to counteract how she was feeling. And it really helps when you're really um, educated on what's happening.
Right.
That you really are experiencing. Getting other experiences, getting other knowledge, getting alternative, like what do you call, holistic ways to heal. Right?
Mhm.
Would you say that would be fair to say?
Definitely, because there's a lot of new resources. Well, they're not new, but
Right.
they're
Yeah.
newly shared
Yeah.
resources, of the
Right.
holistic resources that you can take advantage of
Yeah.
instead of like immediately jumping to surgery or doing some
Yeah.
type of like chemical that is not
Hmm.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a misconception in the Black community that hospitals are bad, doctors are bad,
Mhm.
dentists are bad.
Mhm.
How do you, when you receive this diagnosis, and us getting these perceptions, these I guess messages and data from other people, and it's like what I call it is generational information. So like it could be, oh, hospitals are bad. That's generational. But why?
Mhm.
And we don't know. We just given that information. The same thing as, oh, we have it in our family. Okay, but why? What's going on? We never find out.
Mhm.
How emotionally, how did that impact you when you first heard the diagnosis?
Emotionally, because I saw my dad and I actually saw my grandparents go through
Hmm.
mobility issues due to arthritis, um,
Hmm.
and chronic pain, emotionally, I was like, oh no, like I need to try to be as mobile as possible for as long as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
emotionally, it was kind of like I was kind of depressed at first because I'm like,
Mhm.
I saw the decline, of my
Right.
family. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, it kind of motivated me to kind of get in front of it. And
Hmm.
even now, just like trying new things that I see just to see if it helps me. So yeah, emotionally, at first it was like a setback, but then
Right.
I turned it into something that like challenges me to just move forward.
Hmm. Hmm. In your life right now, how does it impact your relationships?
Mm. So I will say that, it does affect my relationships because there's some days when I can barely walk. So because of the pain, and I might have to call on my husband to do a little more. And thankfully, he has been extremely supportive and very helpful, and he hasn't made me feel bad, because
Hmm.
I do certain things on certain days.
Right.
So with that relationship, it's been fine. Um, with my daughter, I have a 12-year-old daughter, so there's
Right.
time where she wants to go out and do some things, and
Mhm.
maybe I can't on that day because I have good days and I have bad days.
Yeah.
Um, but she's been patient, and thankfully I've had a really good support system in my family when I'm going through. And I have been trying to like push through, and so they'll yell at me and they're like, sit down somewhere, like
Yeah.
you're in pain. I'm like, no, I don't want to let you down. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, thankfully it's been good.
Yeah. And having that feeling of, I don't want to let you down, because the regret,
Mhm.
um how do you navigate that? I know that there's probably days. I just had a car accident, so I was down for like 8 months. So I get it, but you have it. This is going to be a lifelong thing for you.
Mhm.
How do you navigate in your head? I'm letting people down. How do you navigate that?
It's tough, but because of their support,
Okay.
I know that, and because of the type of pain that I have, I know that I might be back up and running in a couple of days. So it
Okay.
makes me feel like, okay, I'll make it up to them. So
Yeah. 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 I got
it
you.
gives me a sense of, okay, this isn't permanent, but when I am able to like do more, I'm going to do
Mhm.
a lot more when I can.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So you're getting in a rhythm of this condition that you have. So there's a rhythm to it,
Yeah.
and you're learning to step in the good days to kind of make it work. And then when it's
Right.
the bad days, you're navigating it very well. So you're paying attention, and
Right.
then that's really good. You're not every day is the same rhythm. It's like I have ups and downs, and I know when I know what's going on. Like when I have the back spasms. I have back spasms,
Mhm.
and um, I know I'm down. I know I'm having them for 2 days. So what do I do? Okay, I put, change my schedule around. I have to lay down on my back and stretch it out, and I'm doing something with the computer laying up like this. But I know you got to learn and navigate that. That is so important. Audience, please listen to what she's saying. It's so important. Don't fall into it, but navigate it the right way and know how your condition works. Know how it when it subsides, when it's not. That's really a great thing.
Mhm.
Tell us more about your journey. Just trying to did you no let me ask this is what I want to ask you. What did you do about work? How did work play into this?
So I have, so my background is in education, and
Okay.
I was in the classroom for about 13 years, but the last almost 3 years, I've
Hmm.
had a job, like a desk job, basically. So I work
Hmm.
from home. And that has really exacerbated my pain because I wasn't
Right.
used to sitting, all the time. So like
Right.
sitting all the time has really kind
Hmm.
of, I'm like, ooh. So with work, thankfully, because I went to the doctor, the chiropractor, she wrote me a script for works for them to get me a standing desk. And
Hmm.
my
Great
work,
idea.
yeah, my work
Great
thankfully,
idea.
bought me a standing desk for home, and I've
Hmm.
been utilizing that. So
Yeah.
work, I'm up, down, all day because it like really helps. And they
Great.
know now that I have back issues because of
Yeah.
the request to buy the desk.
Yeah.
Um, they know now, and they're good with it, but I just have to be cognizant of getting up when it's time and making
Hmm.
intentional efforts to, okay, I need to sit a certain way because I wear a back brace too sometimes, and making sure I put
Okay.
that on. Just being smart so my pain doesn't affect my job.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you said you had to be cognizant of your weight.
Mhm.
How does weight play into this as well?
Oh my goodness, everything. So um I I had lost, I was pretty heavy set. I'm still heavy set, but I was pretty heavy set a few years back, and I had lost about 80-ish pounds. And I
Wow.
realized that I read something that it says for every pound lost is like 5 pounds lost on the joints for like with people with arthritis and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
pressure. So I was like, okay, I really have to get this off. So I got the weight off, but then I recently regained like 35-ish pounds. And I have
Hmm.
found that now I'm in a little more pain than usual. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
now I
Yeah.
have to make the con because I'm an emotional eater. So if I'm going through
Yeah.
something and I
We
even
all are at times. We all are. I know it.
I was I was having my pinched nerve recently, and it was like a month and a half where I did not sleep through the night. So that I wasn't active. I could barely like walk. So I put on pounds eating because I was like, oh, I can't walk, but I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And so now I make, I'm making changes to my diet, and I'm starting to
Uh-huh.
see the scale, go down, the pounds falling off again. But
Hmm.
yeah, the weight definitely plays into it because with my type of, condition, it just puts pressure on your joints
Yeah.
and you can't move around as much. So unfortunately, it has played a huge role in my pain.
Yeah. And with weight comes learning about food, right? Have
Mm-hmm.
you experienced certain foods kind of, making, kind of giving you more pain
Um,
or contributing?
I'll say yes and no.
Okay.
Certain foods that I eat cause me to have like water weight. So like it gives me like fluid on my legs and things like that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I try now to make the effort to like minimize those foods. There's like
Hmm.
eat foods that are like heavy in carbs and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, Certain meats I stay away from because I just feel, I don't know, I just feel weird after I eat them. So like
Yeah. Uh-huh.
certain like cuts of chicken, and I never eat pork. Um,
Hmm.
I eat some beef, but I feel really good when I stay either in like the fish realm or even the like vegetarian realm. I feel really good after I
Yeah.
eat like
Yeah. Yeah. It's always good. That I mean, and it's great that you're saying to listen to your body, because a lot of times we don't listen to our body. Has there
that.
been a medication that they insisted that you take and your body just didn't feel good with it, and you said, hey, you got to do something. Have you advocated against it?
I actually, yes. So in the beginning of my, I guess, diagnosis, the doctor prescribed me, I feel like it's called tramadol.
Hmm.
And I don't know if I was taking it too much or whatever, but I had started developing like an ulcer disease because I was taking it. Because the NSAIDs,
Yeah.
they're NSAIDs, if you take too much, it messes with the lining of your stomach.
Yeah.
So I had stopped taking that. And so now I really just stick to Tylenol arthritis for my pain. And then I use other supplements that are like
Hmm.
not medicine, but supplement. Yeah.
Okay. 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 And have you found it easier for you to, or as you go along in this diagnosis, is it easier for you to advocate for yourself?
Yeah. I think it is a
Yeah.
lot easier than the beginning. So now, and now, because we all become experts when we're on that
Yeah.
Facebook group,
Yeah.
reading comments and looking at WebMD and Google. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
I have the words now to describe certain things better to my doctor. Yeah,
Hmm.
just by doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I know in my experience, going to the doctors, they handle, us with brown skin, black skin differently.
Mhm.
And have you felt that way during your diagnosis? Have you felt that way?
I actually felt that way in the mental health arena. So
Okay.
I had horrible experiences with um, counselors and therapists that did not look like me versus the ones that did. So
Hmm.
the ones that looked like me, it was an amazing experience. Now, on the medical side, I will say that I have had some really good chiropractors and really good doctors who did not look like me. So,
Hmm.
I mean, I'm lucky in that sense. And I've had some doctors who look like me that were not all that great. Um,
Really?
yeah. So I was, So, I mean,
Wow.
say to anybody, because I know there's some people who will only actively seek out African American doctors.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, while I feel like they'll be able to hear you better and listen to you better, that does not mean that you'll get the best services,
No,
best
no.
treatment.
Mm-mm.
So you definitely have to go in not expecting anything from anyone and
Mm-hmm.
just we ask the right questions and really
Yeah.
um, be intuitive about how they're treating you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
don't base it on the color of their skin or anything,
Mm-hmm.
because I've had good and bad experiences on both sides.
Yeah. I will say the same. I like to hear responses that are catered to me and not to the group of people, like or a bunch of people, or the statistics. They're
Mhm.
talking. I like a doctor to talk to me and my situation and my history, and let you know there are doctors that know our history. There are doctors
Right.
that advocate for our history that don't look like us, and they know. Um, I will be 60 next year, and I don't have any medication. So when I started to go to this cardiologist, right, and I have high cholesterol, but it's 2 points under the high cholesterol number. So they wanted to put me on medication. I was like, no. It was like, no. So they had to pull out the big guns and they called a cardiologist and had me on the stress test. And so they said, well, when you're on the machine for 30 minutes, you're breathing hard. I said, of course I am. I had two collapsed lungs. I still have a filter in one of them. Of course I am. It's not like, I'm not overweight. I'm overweight, but I'm not obese. I said, I know I have to drop some pounds. Okay. And so he's, no, you have to take this medication. And it was statins. When I tell you, I live alone. My son lives, I have three kids. They live other places. And so I got the pain in my arms. My arm was turning around like I was getting cramps. My legs did the same thing. The medication really did a number on me. And there's nothing they could do but just wait till he gets out of my system. So I couldn't even get up. I had to call my son. I was like, you got to get me out of this bed. And he's like, what's going on? I was like, it's medication. It's the medication. Called the doctor up. Yeah, that can, give you muscle spasms. I said, no, you didn't see my body. You did not see what was going on with me. So he's like, oh, we'll put you on something else. Did the same thing, did the same exact thing 3 times. And I finally said, no more. I said, I gave it a try. I said, let's try some holistic, let's go to a diet. But in the meantime, I lost 15 pounds. In the meantime, of all this going on, I lost 15 pounds. And I was like, so you mean to tell me my cholesterol is the same? Maybe you should think that it might be my history? He looks at me. Could be. But
Mm.
but it was like, he's like, but you have no medication at your age? I said, no. And he's like, not even for like, because I had broken bones and stuff like that from the accident. And I was like, no, I do yoga, walk, do all those things. And if I have really, really bad, then I'll go to the neurologist, whatever, if I'm really bad. So, but I can manage a lot of it. So he's like, but you're not on medication. And I kept saying, why are you on that part? Why are you thinking about this? And finally, I had to really advocate. And I think I'm really in sync with what you said, advocating for yourself,
Mhm.
because you know yourself very well.
Right.
And then coming to the end of it, two different doctors, had nothing to do with cardiology, nothing to do with my primary care. Literally said, well, one gave me statistics. Do you know they give this medication to? He says, you know what my cholesterol is? He says, I'm Greek. I said, okay. He said, you know what my cholesterol is? I said, no. He said, I lost 50 pounds. You know what my cholesterol is right now? I said, no, I couldn't guess. He said three something. My doctor doesn't say I'm having a heart attack. And he says, I'm telling you, my doctor doesn't say I'm going to have a heart attack. Why is it different for you? It's because it's historic. It's just, you know, in your genes. Your genes is part of that. I go to the gynecologist. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. And my doctor's there. And she goes, "I'm going to be leaving soon," and blah blah blah. But I wanted to come see you. She said, "Anything changed?" So I was telling her about the situation. She goes, "Well, we're finding in studies that cholesterol is hereditary." So it's like, okay, here are two people in two different areas telling me the information that my doctor have said to me. So finally I said I said to him, I'm not going to do this. I said, I said, I want to see a nutritionist. I want to see you know, see me get on a regimen or something like that. If somebody needs to help me get on maybe a more streamlined regimen, I don't know. Or, just to teach me how to eat better. I said, because I am gluten intolerant and lactose free. I can't even tell you what else I'm supposed to eat. I don't even know. So it's like, I don't know. I have no idea. But advocating for yourself, you really, that really, it rings true for me, with what you said. I want to thank you for that. Because every time I come on these shows, I always tell everybody, the guest is for me. Always. Give me some more information that makes me feel. I mean, it's like filling me up with like how like you get a light and you put more light in it. I get so elated. I'm like, oh gosh, this is for me. I get so full, and you've really filled my heart. What you said, and is there anything that you could tell our audience about living with chronic illness? Anything that you can encourage them? This is your space to let it all out.
Okay. Give yourself grace. It's
Oh
not
yeah,
your
that's good.
fault. It's not
Yeah,
your fault. Listen
yeah,
to your body. When you need to rest, you need to rest. Um,
yeah,
is extremely important. And I know, like with this chronic illness that I have, they're like, you have to stay moving and things like that, which I do. But when your body needs to rest, you need to listen to it and let it.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yes. And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I was waiting for you to just keep going, but
I have more if you want me
we
to,
thank you. Okay, but we thank you, Erin. We thank you for being here. We thank you for sharing your story, because your story is going to help so many of us. Audience, I'm going to have her email available for you under the comments of this video. In the audio, if you want to get connected, you can actually leave a message. Just push the button. I'll get the message over to Erin if you have any questions for her to answer around the subject, because I'm sure she wants to help the world, because she's showing up authentically, ladies and gentlemen. So please help her to glow even more, and just call and leave a message, or we're gonna, if you have an email that you want to send her. Thank you again, Erin, for being here, and this brings us to the end of the show. Thank you all for being here, and you could be anywhere else, but you're here today with us. We say goodbye for now.
Bye.